question that pops up a lot is, why does Rainbow Dash have to sneak into the weather factory? Surely a weather captain ought to be able to get badged in with no fuss or bother. Well, I think it's a safe bet that pets aren't allowed in the factory, and for fear of him nodding off, Rainbow Dash doesn't want to let Tank out of her sight. Makes one wonder what sort of pets ponies have in Cloudsdale.
Lunch hour. Perfect.
Why are their wings attached to their shoulders? Oh, watch this. Split-second animation errors. What a disgrace. Oh, look, an inbred unicorn. And shipping fodder. I'm not going to bother counting the illegalities of this scene. On my first viewing, I concluded that the story was about all the wrong ways of coping with misery, and then realized that it showcases the 5 stages of grief. It is a bit jarring that the entire second act is devoted to the bargaining stage, but in a world like Equestria, trying to change unpleasant circumstances is a lot more possible than in our logical world.
Sabotage snowflakes? I think we gotta go bigger than that.
You don't want to sabotage snowflakes, Dash. You'll get lynched by the Snowdrop fans.
We could get rid of these clouds, but that's still not big enough.
I would assume that there are drains in the floors of the weather factory. I work at a chemical bottling plant, and any spilled liquids or washout is gone in a few minutes. But it appears here that Rainbow is actually flooding the lab, not really disposing of the water. This would have worked, as all the water sources would be frozen over and the factory couldn't collect more to replace the supply. That white powder ain't snow. That's nappy powder. It's used to soak up liquids, upset in accidents that require speedier disposal than via drains. If you've seen my Zappo Lantern comic, you know my headcanon about Pegasi and lightning. This adds a bit more weight to it, so I'm happy. That powder I was talking about is so absorbent it expands, and some movie companies do use it to make artificial snow. And since the floor of the winter lab is flooded, I think we know where all the snow about to cover Ponyville came from. Hey, here's one of your fans, Rainbow Dash, and he really wants an autograph. I'm certain there are evacuation plans for the weather factory, and as a Pegasus, the escape route options are infinite. Fire drills are probably a dawdle.
Prepare yourselves, every pony. Winter is coming.
The Game of Thrones reference went over my head. The scream, on the other hand, is more or less universally known. And now for the orgasm. Sorry. I love this idea of the snow nuke, or snook, because when winter hits, it hits hard. And now Ponyville is blanketed in nappy powder. She hadn't stopped winter from coming. It came. Actually, the weather factory came.
Let me handle this. Rainbow Dash?
This episode is completely and utterly pancakeless. Had to be said. Not much I can say that hasn't been said about Fluttershy's cruel to be kind approach. Crying most certainly is healthy when you're miserable. It's your turn, AJ. Remember Mod Pie?
It's okay. Tank will come back in a few months.
Every time I watch this scene, I react to it differently. Sometimes I find it sad, sometimes I find it annoying, sometimes I find it funny. I can sympathize with Rainbow Dash dreading being pet deprived for several months. And I think the performance drags a bit, but there is a lot of pent-up sadness in there. And I laughed often because this is not something Rainbow Dash does. She's the hardest of the main 6.
Feeling better?
Those bedsheets are probably soaked by now. In a sense, Rainbow Dash wet the bed.
Oh, you poor, poor thing.
And now Fluttershy, Rarity, and Pinkie Pie are going to contribute. A team effort for a wet mattress.
It's just heart-wrenching.
More ham than the whole of Toy Story. At least they didn't use the same recording for Rarity. At least this one's fresh.
Is to say goodbye.
Yeah, winter's always fun at first. Then you want hell to rise just so you won't freeze your face off.
Well, guess we're starting winter with a bang.
The fun's come early. Yeehaw!
You think we could
That looks like a jack-o'-lantern face. Scariest snow angel ever.
I don't think Rainbow Dash could handle it.
Riding that entire season from Cloudsdale to Ponyville was pretty awesome.
So they do discover that Rainbow Dash was responsible for the snowgasm.
Might like to say goodbye to
And they're just looking the other way. Here's a question going back to Rarity blowing off Twilight's birthday party without getting rumbled. Suppose after 3 seasons she actually admitted it right to Twilight's face. How do you think Twilight would react? It might be something like the A Million Little Pieces debacle. A lot of readers felt betrayed when they found out that the author was bullshitting them, and a lady in my literature class only found out this year about that controversy. It's years old, but she took it pretty rough.
I'm glad you're feeling
What would Twilight make of this stale yet weighty information should Rarity decide to disclose it? Bye, Tank. Have fun in Luna's dream world. Well, I think that's enough from me. This is Brass Polish signing off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time Rainbow Dash carries an episode. See ya.
It happens, huh? Doesn't it? Yeah. It's part of the deal. Part of the deal. What happens when you get a pet? You have them for a while. They get old. They go away. It's inevitable when you buy the pet. You're supposed to know it in the pet shop. It's going to end badly. You're purchasing a small tragedy. So look at him, isn't he cute? Our shit is gonna die! Unless you're in your 80s and you're buying a tortoise.